Warning: the following podcast has been rated listener R due to strong language, violent situations, drug references, sexual innuendos, and who knows what else. Listener discretion is advised. With that being said, hang on, sugar tits, because we're about to get wobbled.
What is going on, guys? It's Clayton Wobble Elliott back with another episode of the Let's Get Wobble podcast. We are here at Cleveland Rendezvous. I was hoping I would be able to bring my podcast stuff down and got everything scheduled, got everything figured out. Um, I told you guys a little bit in the last episode. This is was already kind of sneak peeked. I'm here with Mocktail. Mocktail, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm great. So you and I went to school together, really.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get a different perspective because I only have ever interviewed guys on my podcast, and I wanted to get kind of a different perspective. And we'll go through everything, but I kind of want you to introduce yourself to everybody. So basically, I want you to tell me who you are as a person, um, like just some things that we did in high school, just about you, really.
So, in high school, I started off running track. I fell in love with long distance running. I started with hurdles, but they ended up not just being for me. I did actually what's called the steeplechase. It's a mile run with hurdles included, and one of them is actually a jump into water. The first time I seen it and actually did it was insane. It,
I've
it
seen it
was
on
a
TV, and
wild
it
thing.
looks like it's just a regular lap, but you also have to jump over the hurdle in the water.
Yeah. Um, It was probably one of the most intimidating things I'd ever done, simply because I had no training for it. The track coaches really threw me into it. Um, I was then interested in softball and absolutely fell in love with that sport. It's one thing that I wish I could continue doing. It's the one thing I miss from high school, not the people or the studies, anything like that. If I could go back, I would put all my effort into softball. It gave me a family and a purpose. It gave me something to look forward to. I thought I was good at it, and I truly enjoyed it. I gained some lifetime injuries from it, unfortunately, but it's always something that I look back to with love. I was a part of band, and that was a second family as well, but it doesn't stick with me like softball did. I still don't know why, if it was the responsibility of a team dependent on the effort that I gave or what. But that is one thing that I wish I could have continued in college. I should have. I just didn't take that opportunity, and I feel like that was my biggest missed opportunity.
I did band too back in middle school and everything, and I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. But at the same time, like you have so many other commitments with sports and band and trying to juggle everything, and it's
absolutely.
hard to just focus on one thing that you really want to excel at.
Yeah,
And band was one of the things too that I just kind of let go because I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't. I didn't love it as much as I loved the other things that I
right.
was doing.
So a lot of people don't know the instrument, but it's called a mellophone. That's what I did for marching band, and it's kind of a, it's the marching version of a French horn.
Okay.
I did French horn in concert band, and that is classified as one of the hardest instruments to play in a concert setting.
I always told everybody like my biggest dream I wanted to be in the Ohio State band, I'll say that. But I didn't realize you had to go to college to be in the band. And then when I saw the debt that came with it, I was like, I think I'm gonna pass on
Right.
that. Another thing that I know about you is your love for animals and dogs. So if you would touch on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved animals, more than most people I know. Horses have definitely been the biggest part of my life. I have 6 horses that are the love of my life. Um, they are my everything. I've grown up with them. My mother actually, she bred and raised horses when my dad was overseas. That was her thing. Uh, like I said, I grew up with them. I would do anything for them, and I wish I could continue doing stuff with them in my life. I would really like to do barrel racing, but I don't have the time commitment that I wish I could give. I do have 4 dogs, 3 German Shepherds, and one called a King Charles Cavalier. He's I call I actually call him my little retard, just because He pretty dumb. He can be dumb. I got my first dog 9 years ago. She's my little baby. I actually was breeding them for a while. She gave me 3 litters of puppies. I kept one boy. I call him Major. He's a 120-pound dog. He is the biggest baby though that you will ever meet. I promise. He really isn't fond of anyone but me. He's very protective. I kept a female from another one of her litters called Zula. She's probably one of the most obedient dogs that I've ever had.
So along with that too, you and I have both recently, I just became an uncle probably like 7 months ago. And I know you became an aunt too. And it's crazy to think like, I know I've always wanted kids, but then actually like being in a family role where somebody you know had kids and everything, it definitely changes things and it puts in perspective for you of what it could be like to
Yes.
have kids. So I want to know what your take is on being an aunt as well.
So being an aunt has really honestly kind of completed my life. As for right now, I would absolutely do anything for that little girl. She's my little hay bug. I've always wanted children of my own for years now. It's the one thing that I want in this life. Nothing will ever compare to the feeling that I have right now for children. Uh, but from the moment she was born, she's been my world. I cried the first time I seen her. My sister was saying it's okay. She understands when she's seen me crying, but she truly don't. She does not understand. I wanted a child so bad for years with one person. She could understand what I was feeling through her own experiences, but not through mine. Nobody can. Through mine, she is the child I wasn't blessed with yet. Anytime that I am blessed with seeing her, I have to fight back tears because I am not blessed with my own child yet. There's no love like a mother's love, but my love for her rivals the love that I feel for her.
And it's super tough too because like I was in a position too where I mean I wasn't in a long term relationship with this girl, but like she came to me one day. She's like, "Hey, I need you to know I'm pregnant." And my whole fucking, I'm like, "Holy shit!" I go through all the stages of the emotions.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? How are we gonna make this work? But then you buckle down and you're like, "Okay, this is just what it is. We got to go through it." So I told a couple people, but like I said, I wasn't super proud of it because I didn't think I had my life together yet. It was just kind of a freak thing, but I was ready to take it on. And then shortly thereafter, she ended up losing the baby. So it it sucks, but also it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And I always try to look at it as that, you know, obviously there's something else there that knew that I wasn't exactly ready. And whether it was meant to be or not, I mean, I think everything will eventually work out the right
Yeah.
way. But
That
it
was
just
God. That was God
exactly it
looking out
is.
for you.
Yeah, and I do believe that too. I do. And it does suck though because you put yourself through all that and it is extremely difficult. But I want to keep it lighthearted. I want to keep the jokes flowing. But um you actually worked public safety before I started working public safety. And without talking too much about our job, I just want to kind of know what exactly got you started into public safety. How did you get involved with it?
Okay. So I started in college studying psychology because of my sister. She was depressed with a split personality and she did end up killing herself. Not many people know because it is hard to talk about sometimes. But then while studying psychology, I started working at a juvenile correctional facility and I seen the difference that I could potentially make with those juveniles. There was one girl, she was accepted into our facility. She was the youngest at only 11 years old. She actually tried to murder her grandmother. And I feel like while working with her, I had a great deal of influence on her with understanding her mental disorder. Later, I ended up transferring to the adult system. Unfortunately, I don't feel as much of the positive impact that I did with the juveniles, but I still hope to make an impact with the career path that I'm trying to take going forward to be a case manager. I have some experience with doing it as a temp spot, but right now that is my goal to be able to positively influence as many people as I can in and out of work.
Right. And it's extremely difficult too because even in the position we're in now, like there are some times where you can kind of see what difference you're making, but it's really hard. I mean,
It is.
it's hard. And I like that with construction so much because like I could see the progress that I made at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And where we're at now, like your progress is nothing really going on.
Right.
So obviously, I want to get into now why we're here and why we are where we are at now. What sparked your interest in motorcycles and what bikes have you owned so far?
I've always loved bikes. I don't honestly know what it is. They've always had an interest to me. I have owned 4 bikes, and it's kind of a joke with a couple people that I've gotten one bike every year that I've started getting bikes. I started on a Honda CBR. I know it's a sport bike, but then I ended up having a Kawasaki Vulcan. Then I went to a Harley 883, and my current bike is a Harley Davidson Street Bob. It's not where I want to be, but I absolutely love this bike so far. It's with bikes, it's really honestly the freedom of being open and the risk of it all is honestly what drew me to wanting a bike. I've always loved them and thought they were badass. The more people that I meet with within the club and the different bikes I've seen has always opened me to the idea that it's a way to express somebody's self with what we drive or ride, the modifications that we make and everything, the paint colors, any decals that you want to put on. It's something that we have for ourselves and can make completely ours.
And it's really true because even the smallest thing, like, completely sets a bike off. And I absolutely think that your bike fits you 110%. I love the way your bike is. I love that it's made like it feels like that bike's made for you.
I feel so comfortable on it now.
Right.
This is the second year that I've had it.
And you can even tell through the time that you've been with the club, you can tell when you're like, you get comfortable with it.
Yes.
You're not like, it almost feels like before you're on edge about it, you're not so sure. But then when you get comfortable about it, it opens up a whole new level of riding that you didn't know that you
Absolutely.
had. And to follow up on that point too, like, um, my grandpa and my dad rode bikes together. They kind of learned together how to ride. And then I was always interested too. So it always feels like everybody that you ask, they always tell you like, oh, it came from family members or like, but it does. It gives you that sense of freedom and just that sense of being open and just being able to ride. And especially with people that you love too, it makes it so much more enjoyable than just going out by yourself.
Absolutely, it does.
So my next question here, I have a lot of people don't understand what motorcycle clubs are. It's very difficult for somebody to see a leather vest and not immediately think of an outlaw or something like that.
Yeah.
So, what would your response be if somebody were to ask you who you are as a warthog or who are the warthogs? And why did you choose us specifically?
The Warthogs is a family. It's truly as simple as that. It's people with the same ideology, people that want to be a family and do better for their community. I was actually introduced by Pumbaa. It was the family, and seeing that I felt with softball. It was a family that I didn't have at home. They gave me love and support that I didn't have growing up. They cared and wanted me to be around and support me. They gave me the love that I craved my whole life.
And it really does too. It's crazy to see how these people that you've never met before that you built such a strong bond with, not even with our chapter, but the other chapters we have here. I heard somebody was talking earlier. They sold 800 tickets for this event this year in Cleveland. There are hundreds of bikes here, so many people, and it's so hard to even see everybody, but just mingling with old friends, meeting new people, and it's all a big family setting.
Yes.
So again, people on the outside looking at motorcycle clubs think, is it blood in, blood out? They also believe that all clubs are gangs or they run drugs or guns. How did you hear about our club? I know you said Pumbaa kind of introduced you a little bit, but tell me how you heard about the club, coming up about it, and then I want you to talk about your prospecting period once you finally decided to join.
Yeah, so Pumbaa did introduce me to the club after he was introduced by Playboy. Me and Pumbaa had both gotten bikes around the same time. We were learning at the same time. He did advance quicker than me, but it also gave me something to look like up to and aspire to be. Somebody that gave me a reason to learn more and do better. Everyone in the club does give me that purpose, but he's the one that started me down that path. When I started to prospect, he was my sponsor. He looked out for me, gave me direction how to be the best that I could be within the club. I was challenged in knowledge by Berm, and I truly appreciate that because he was kind of really the only one who treated me like I was another prospect rather than a female in the club. I've had it pointed out to me that I was treated a little bit differently because I'm a female, And it's not the best feeling sometimes being pointed out by that point. I've always tried to tell people from the club that I'm a member, not a female. It's a hard point to get across, but at the same time, I can't fault these people because I respect the fuck out of them for giving me the respect as a woman. So it's kind of a in between
Right.
feeling.
And it does have to be different being in such a male dominated club because we really don't have a lot of females. But I wanted to say this too. And after I read your response that you put down, I put my own note in there because at the bike show, Clay and I were talking about it. And of course, we joke with you because you've had a lot of things that needed fixed on your bike or work done.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Clay about it when I took him back to his place to get his bike. And he said, I respect the hell out of her because any woman in our eyes that decides they're going to take their own handlebars and ride their own bike, it takes a lot of guts for a guy to get behind a bike and put himself like just through the paces of becoming in a motorcycle club and doing all that shit. But on top of that, being a girl, Clay said like that's above any other guy that he knows. He said that completely is just completely unheard of. And he said it's not that you should be treated different; you should be treated equal. Like that's what you're working towards and fighting for. But he said it's just amazing how like you can just tell when somebody wants to be a part of something bad enough. It doesn't matter color of skin, gender, age. It doesn't matter. Like you're just part of that family.
Yes.
And I even put in here too. I said, you just touched on it. And I said, I've never looked at you as just a female in our club. I said, when you joined, you were always a sister in this big family that we've had. And I said, I'm sure it's odd being female, obviously in a dominated club, but I personally think it puts you even on a higher pedestal than either any of these guys that are walking around.
I I do really like it. Even if people don't know my name, they still call me sister.
Right.
Everybody I meet, they're always, "What's up, sister? How are you doing?"
So your prospect challenges, you kind of hinted on it that Berm gave you a prospect challenge of knowledge. And it's always nice too, because not only are you getting to tell yourself your story, but you're getting like a little bit of a fact check about what the club is and anything like that. So did you get any other prospect challenges or anything that you remember right away?
I really didn't have to do many prospect challenges. Um, I didn't go. Unfortunately, when I started prospecting, there wasn't any big events, so I didn't have any like set prospect challenge. I know our bike show last year, I sat at the table literally the entire time except for 20 minutes when I walked around with some friends. To me, that was kind of my prospect challenge to see what I was willing to
Right.
withstand, I
Right.
guess.
So I also want to talk about, I didn't put it in the notes, but everybody that I've had on the podcast, I always ask them how they got their road name. But before we get to that, I want to talk about your patch in because I felt like it was really special. I like the way that we did it. But your patch in was at our Christmas party. Talk about your patch in. Were you expecting it? Did you kind of feel like something was going on? And what did it mean to you to finally reach that? It's not really an end goal because there's so much more to achieve, but that first stepping stone of I fucking made it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah, I was hoping that it was going to be then, just because of the time that I'd been prospecting. I know it wasn't as long as some people, but I had truly felt like the things that I shown up to, I put my effort in. I was there. I wanted to be there. The patch, as you said, was kind of my end goal in the sense of, like you said, I am here.
Right.
This is me. I am technically part of the family, if
Right.
that's how you want to say it. Um, it meant a lot to
Right.
me. I know I had to hold back tears the whole time. I was so happy. I know. I'm gonna take it back a little bit farther. When I actually wanted to start prospecting, somebody had later told me after you guys voted that they were gonna prank me and say that one person said no. And when I was told that, I looked at the person and said, I would have cried in front of all of you because that's how much it meant to me as a or as a
Right.
hang around,
Right.
wanting to prospect. So when I got patched in, that meant a lot to me. Like I said earlier, this is my family.
Right. So now the big thing, the one that everybody wants to know, why Mocktail? So I want you to tell the story. I hate that I wasn't there for it. I wish I could have been. I heard it was a great story, but I want you to tell it from your perspective. Where did the name Mocktail come from?
So we had just bought in, or I had just picked up my bike that I have now, the Street Bob. On the way up, I had actually realized I'd forgotten my license. Of all places to forget it, going up to buy something that important, I forgot my license that day.
There's a bunch of bikes pulling out.
Are you planning a graduation party, wedding, birthday, family reunion, or a community event? Make it easy and make it fun with Fun and Done Party and Event Rentals. Servicing Noble and Guernsey County, Ohio, this family owned local business has the essentials that you need for a successful event. They rent 8-foot tables, they rent 60-inch tables, they rent tablecloths for those tables. They rent chairs, pop up canopies, coffee urns, even decorative backdrop arches with fabric options available. If you really want to keep guests entertained, check out their huge selection of yard games. From cornhole and giant Jenga to Giant Connect 4, LED pickleball, Tetris tumble, plastic axe throwing, ladder golf, washer toss, and so much more. They've got fun for all ages and they're expanding their inventory all the time. Pickup is always free and you can schedule delivery for an additional fee. Reach out today at 740-509-0517 via their Facebook page at Fun and Done Party and Event Rentals or email funanddonpartyrentals@gmail.com and make your next event fun and done the easy way. Looking for custom gifts, branded merch, or something completely one of a kind? Check out HBT Custom Creations. HBT Custom Creations specializes in high quality UV DTF wraps and decals, a full color, permanent digital printing process that creates vibrant 3D effects designed for hard surfaces like glass, plastic, metal, and wood. No heat pressing, no cutting, no weeding, just clean professional customization that lasts. They also offer 3D printed items, homemade ink pens turned on a lathe and made to order, fully customizable epoxy tumblers, ready to ship tumblers, custom wood items, and plenty more unique creations. Orders ship anywhere in the US and Canada. You can shop anytime at hbtcustomcreations2019.myshopify.com, and you can also catch her on TikTok Lives at HBT Custom Creations every Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 Eastern Standard. To see products in real time, ask questions in the chat, and learn how to place your order today.
Okay. Sorry, there was a bunch of bikes going by. Like in previous views, I've been able to kind of get away from the music and the crowd, kind of the traffic, but just the way they have us set up here, we're right across from Brown Stadium. There's a lot of live music going on, people partying. So trying to find a place to even do a podcast has been tough. So we kind of got to take pauses, cut some things out. But you were saying you had just gotten your new ID at this point, right?
I had just bought the new bike.
Okay, I bought the new bike. Okay,
yeah, and I forgot my ID at home.
Okay.
Of all times to forget an ID when you're going buying something. So on the way, after we had picked the bike up, we wanted to stop and eat. So we stopped at the steakhouse. Well, it was Pumbaa and Playboy with me, and they both got a beer. I'm like, oh, I want a drink. So I wanted a mixed drink. And I was like, man, I don't know. They're going to card me. I always get carded. Everybody jokes about how young I look. I'm going to get carded. I was worried about it. And they were like, just order. The worst they can do is say no. And you just don't get a drink today. Right. Like, we'll get you a drink when we get home. Don't worry about it. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll just do that. So she comes around, takes our drinks, and she took my drink order. No problem. I finally didn't get carded. I was so excited. I can't tell you how excited I was. I kept making comments about it. I'm like, oh boy, I didn't get carded. Honestly, I think the fact that I didn't get carded was like the biggest excitement for me. But so a little bit later, when we were still eating, I looked back at the drink menu. So I'm like, fuck it. I want to see what else they have, maybe get something different, or maybe see what exactly was in that one. It was a mocktail. It didn't even have alcohol in it. No wonder I didn't get ID'd. They thought that was absolutely hilarious. I think them two laughed about that for literally weeks.
When Pumbaa was telling the story, because we were kind of bouncing ideas of what names they wanted to go, and when it comes up, it does fall back essentially on your sponsor as to what they want. And a couple of names were bounced around, but he was like, no, it's got to be this one. Like, you had to be there for the story. It was hilarious.
Right.
She was so hyped up that she didn't get carded, super excited about it, to find out she had a drink without alcohol in it the whole time.
Another like name choice for me was gonna be Pepto Pixie.
Yep, heard that one too.
Did you hear the story on that
Heard
one?
the story on that. Yep, that was a good one too. I don't know if you want to share
I'll
it. You're
share
more
it,
than
yeah.
welcome.
So we were at the police memorial in Cleveland last year, not this year. So I had went a little too hard Thursday night before the parade. Huge mistake. I learned for this year. So Friday morning, we wake up. I felt absolutely awful. Well, I always have Pepto chewables because I love them things. They're lifesavers.
Gross. The worst tasting shit ever. I don't know
Absolutely.
how you can do it.
So I go to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna take one of these. I'm gonna feel great for this parade. It's gonna be fine. I go in there. The door's wide open still. I was just getting one of those. I pull one out, throw it in my mouth, and I start chewing as I'm walking out of the bathroom. The absolute worst tasting thing I've ever had in my life. Instantly, I start puking. I run back into the bathroom. I'm just throwing up. I lifted the package. It wasn't the chewables, it was the Pepto pills. So that's what made me throw up.
So now we got to know who Mocktail is, exactly how you got your patch and everything. So now we're going to kind of step away and kind of go back a little bit into the other side of things. Some lighthearted things. What are some of your pet peeves? Is there anything about you that just pet peeves, simple things that people wouldn't normally think but really fucking piss you off?
Honestly, my biggest thing is when people interrupt me. A lot of people have always done that to me. I don't know why. But when people interrupt me, I shut down.
Right.
It's just I don't. It's so ingrained in me. It it makes me feel like a smaller person. It makes me feel not heard.
Right.
So I shut down. I stop talking. I'll walk away from a conversation.
I think a lot of people think about it like it truly does. It just feels like you're being talked over, you're not being heard. So some people I think just brush it off. But yeah, I could see definitely how that would be a pet peeve. Me and Corey, when we did our podcast, my stupid shit's like, I hate when people leave the time on the microwave and don't clear the mic.
Yeah.
If I go over to your house and your microwave's always blinking because you never reset the time, that shit pisses me off for no fucking reason. Another question I like to ask some people, because like we've always talked too, it's so hard to know what you want to do when you graduate high school or even college. Like they expect you to have life by the reins and know what you want to do. Is there anything that you would have given your 18-year-old self, like information wise, advice wise, or anything like that? Anything that you wish you could have done different back then that you know now?
Stay in college. Honestly, that's my biggest thing. I don't regret where I'm at now, but I could have had so many more open possibilities for my career. Like I said, I don't regret where I am. I truly don't. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with the people that I'm around, that I've put myself around. But if I would have stayed in college, I could have had a higher paying job. I could have had this or that. Yes, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's honestly, in my belief, the people you're around, what you make for yourself out of what you have. But I could have set myself up better for
Right.
life.
And the last thing that I've got here, we'll answer this and I'll kind of turn it back to you in case there's something that you have. You and I had talked about it a little bit. I posted on one of my Wobble Wednesday topics, I think it was. But like there was something going around on TikTok maybe, or a post that I had seen, and it was if you could write your problem down that you're having in your life right now. If you could write that down and throw it in a hat and trade it for somebody else's problem, it would be a blind pick. You would reach in and pull out the problem and then have to deal with that. Would you rather keep your own problems that you're going through right now? Or would you rather try to gamble a little bit, see if you could find something that's a little less stressful, or just to kind of see what else you would get? I know you and I talked about it a little bit. I thought it would be a great podcast topic. So I want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I know it's a selfish thing, but I would keep my own. I'd keep my own problems. Just because to me they may seem really bad at times, but it can always be worse.
Right.
Something else could always go wrong. Something else could always be worse than what I am going through right now. I can't say all, but most problems are temporary. All problems are a state of mind. It's how much thought you put into that problem. you can get away with yourself with lessening your problems in your mind. I know I've always had a lot of anxiety. I know I always make my own problems worse than what they are, but it could always be worse. It really could. So, a selfish idea, but I would stick with my
I
own.
don't think it's selfish, really. I told Kristen the same thing. I said, as much as I hate my fucking problems, I know what they are. So
Yeah.
I know what to expect too.
That's a really
I've
good
kind
point.
of already worked, a system that works for me. But Kristen's the kind of person, she's like, I like solving other people's problems. So I would give it a try. And I'd be like, you could end up with a drug habit. You could end up with fucking like losing kids or something like that. And she's like, I just like solving other people's problems. But for me, like you said, if it's selfish or so be it. But I know my problems. They're not the worst ever. Like they're shitty, but at the same time, like I know how to deal with them, or at least I feel like I do. So I would definitely keep my own shit and not want to trade with anybody else. I really appreciate the time sitting down with me. I know it can be difficult. A lot of people are like, man, I don't know what to say in a podcast. And I said, it's literally just a conversation. We're sitting down, we're holding microphones in our hand, and we're just talking. That's it. But I thank you so much for taking the time out of it. So thank you guys for listening. We had a wonderful time. I'm going to go see if I can find some other guys to interview real quick. But until next time,
Stay wobble.
well, thank you so much, Mocktail.
Thank you.